Earn your BCom with a business degree program that gives you the time to decide and the time to specialize. Our programs range from fashion to finance, management to marketing, or human resources to healthcare. Take 2 years to decide which career is right for you, and then get down to business with work-integrated learning experiences that give you the employability skills employers value and reward. Apply now at humber.ca/business.
Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome everybody to Paranormal Radio, episode number 9. Today we have a very special guest, Barrie John from the UK. Barrie, are you there?
Hi, Jason.
How are you today?
I'm very good. How are you?
Very good. Thank you for joining us today. It's an honor and a privilege to have you with us. And we also have my co-host, Derek Frankham. I apologize for the long intro. There was a slight delay with the show streaming, but we are now live. And I hope everyone's day is going well. Barrie, thanks again for joining us. And would you like to just give the people a little bit of an intro on yourself?
Yeah, of course I will. Well, thanks again for inviting me, Jason, really. I mean, it's great for me to be able to spread my word around the globe, really. In terms of myself, brought up from a very early age in terms of, believing that there was another world out there or a paranormal side. My family was always very mediumistic. I mean, I remember great stories of my grandparents and great-grandparents practicing table tapping and table levitation in the old days, and it always fascinated me really. It was always this belief, well, if there is something, then I want to prove that it is there. I remember getting messages very early on, probably when I was about 8 years old, something like that, where I was always aware there was something more. That's the only thing I can say really. And I never knew what at those stages. Like most people nowadays, I used to practice with tarot cards when I was younger and give people readings, and often wondered, well, where's that information coming from? How accurate is it? And then I began to develop, and obviously it took me from one step to another, really. Latterly, obviously, appearing on a lot of international television, paranormal radio stations around the globe, really. But I mean, I've had great pleasure in working with people like the Dalai Lama, doing ghost walks in Buenos Aires, doing ghost walks over in some of the Canary Islands. So it really has taken me all around the globe, up until latterly when I've recently become a partner in a paranormal business, actually organising ghost hunts and paranormal events for people. So it takes you everywhere, Jason, being honest. It's difficult for me to pinpoint one item. But the one thing I want to do is obviously share that knowledge. I mean, I'm a great believer in passing on information and knowledge to people. And also from my point of view, I've helped people develop, advance themselves and move into another era. And that's the thing I want to continue to do.
That's absolutely amazing. And do you feel that from your experiences, is there anywhere in particular on the globe that you think is the most prone for paranormal activity, or do you think it's just generally each spot of the world has their own level equal to other places?
I would personally say that each part is individual. It all has its own energies. Remember that the only thing that we need to look at is what has happened in those certain areas. If there's been a major disaster or there's been something that's happened from an emotional sense, you could look at things such as earthquakes, building collapsing, really, really sort of traumatic situations. And that's what creates all this energy, really, what we work with as mediums. That's what we pick up on, because you're aware of people's suffering, you're aware of people's happiness and emotions, and as much as there's, a very sad side to what we do, hopefully there's also a very happy side to what we do as well. People are happy to believe that there is something else there, to hear from loved ones that have passed over. But some of the fascinating places that really do move me, I mean, in 2006 I had the privilege of doing a little bit of a ghost walk around the Recoleta Cemetery in Buenos Aires, where Eva Perón's buried. And for me, that was one of the most emotional places to go to. And I think not only from a point of view of it being, a cemetery, a mausoleum, but there's a lot more than that. There was people's emotions there, individuals, how they still cared for their loved ones, even though they passed over into the spirit world. And I think a lot of the time, some of us do tend to forget about loved ones when they have passed over. We go to a graveside or a cemetery or a crematorium, and we don't remember them as well as what some people do. When you look at places like Buenos Aires, because of the very strong religious links there, what you tend to find is that those sort of people still carry on the praise for people that have passed over to spirit, is the only way I can say it.
And would you say that environmental things have a certain play in the paranormal as well? Like, for example, Stonehenge. Do you believe that it amplifies the abilities of people around, or the pyramids, or the name escapes me right now, but that infamous statue of Jesus in Buenos Aires?
Yeah.
Do you believe that those are like receptacles, or are they just more or less to make you focus on it, and then you bring out the powers within?
Exactly. I think what you have to look at is remembering that these are all places of either worship or praise. There's something significant there for people. If we look at the temples, that was a sign of the Egyptians. Sorry, not the temples, the pyramids. But if you look at that, that's a sign of people passing over. It was their way of passing the deceased person into the spirit world, in a sense. If we look at, where else can we look at? I'm trying to think of some of the examples. Stonehenge, as you mentioned. Stonehenge is obviously very famous in the UK, but it was a place of worship for individuals. So it was a belief for them, really, I think places like that hold a lot of emotion for people and really do take them into another area of expertise. But I think over and above that, any sort of place, when you look at the UK, for instance, some of the history that we've got in old buildings, I was doing an event last night at a place called Tutbury Castle, which is where people that all know the story know of Mary Queen of Scots and Elizabeth I, where they had very much a rival battle going on for Tutbury Castle or at Tutbury Castle. And that place dates back to probably somewhere in the region of 1300s. So, you know, when you start considering that, and we're going back 900 years, you know, it's a place that's full of history, but any place really has got history. That's the one thing I'd want to point out. One of the places near me now, where I actually live, used to be an old army air base during the First World War. And I always remember people saying, oh, you know, there'll never be anything there, you'll never pick any energy up. But it's one of the most amazing relaxational places I've ever been to. But there's nothing there now, if that makes sense. It is literally just a field.
Well, I completely understand, and that's what I wanted to ask you. When you go on an investigation, is it something that you can feel from, you know, your toes to your head, or is it something that gradually builds when you get a sense, you know, or do you feel it like even weeks before you know you're going to go to that place? How does it happen for you?
Good point. Interesting question, because, okay, this actually lets us look at a few different areas, because sometimes I know where I'm going on investigations, other times I don't.
Right.
If I know beforehand, and even when I don't know where I'm going, to be honest, I'll already start linking in with people. People will start coming to talk to me in sense of spirit to say, you know, this is where you're going to be, this is who you're going to visit, this is what we're telling you about that place. And very often they do that, but obviously once you get there, it really does intensify. You know, the energy gets very stronger. You're able to link in a lot quicker with what's around. One of the things, obviously, what I would point out is that on an investigation, especially when you've got public involved, and members of the public, is that not only are you picking up on spirits that lived in castles and stately homes and all those sort of areas, you actually start picking up on the people, the guests' loved ones, basically. So you can imagine this turmoil for me as a medium of which one do I go with and what do I pick up first. And I suppose the easy way for me to say that, Jason, is that when I'm working with people, I imagine that it's like a big sort of train stop or bus stop or something like that up in the spirit world of all these people in a big queue waiting to come through and talk to me. And you'll have people that are extremely old, you'll have families, loved ones there, friends and families that just want to visit really and just say, yeah, I'm here, you know, this is what I've come to tell you.
And do you feel that newly passed spirits are more stronger when contacting you, or does it not even matter how long somebody's been passed, you know, when you get their messages sent to you?
For me personally, it makes no difference at all. I mean, a lot of the mediums will say to you, you know, a loved one can't come back for 6 months, 12 months. For me, that's never made any difference. I've actually made contact with people's loved ones once they've passed within sometimes a matter of days, a matter of hours. It all depends on the strength of that spirit character. I suppose one thing you have to look at, that if a spirit is very, very strong in this world now before they pass over, they will always remain the same. So if somebody's very pushy, if somebody always wants to get into conversation first and probably take over in a conversation, they will always be the same. And this is where, when I'm working with people, you know, and I'll be giving them a message from their grandmother or grandfather, and very often you'll find that they'll get pushed out by a stronger character. But that's how it works, unfortunately. You know, whoever's the strongest will get through.
Right. And we have a
do you feel that the spirits can communicate amongst each other, or if they choose so, or do they stay in more maybe like their family circle or ancestral circle?
Just ask me that one again, because you broke
up. So I was
just
wondering, do you think most spirits, do they communicate amongst each other, or if they choose so, or would it be maybe amongst their own like ancestral circle?
I tend to find a lot of the time that spirit will communicate with themselves as well. Okay, So what they'll do is wherever I'm working or whatever I'm doing, you'll very often find that there sometimes might be a little argument going on in the spirit world of somebody saying, well, I'm going first, and no, I'm going first. And they have this little battle going on, and very often what you'll find is, especially on private sittings, private readings, something like that with an individual, you might have two very strong sort of grandparents or a mother and father who do actually argue things out while you're giving the reading at times.
Oh. So it can almost be like the real life self, if they argue in real life.
Guys. We have a couple callers, and if they want to pose a question, go ahead. Caller from 831 area code, go ahead.
Hello?
Hello, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you doing this morning?
Very good. Very, very good. Did you have a question for Barrie?
Yeah. Is he doing readings, or I'm not sure what kind of questions we're allowed to ask, so I don't want to ask any
go
that...
ahead. You know what? If you want to ask him personally, he's here, and definitely go ahead.
That's great. Well, my name is...
Anything you wish.
My name is Christina. I'm doing good. My name is Christina, and I've been spiritually developing.
Yeah.
And I was wondering what you see me doing with the abilities that are starting to come into play, and maybe how I can get some grasp on them, because I kind of feel like I'm in second gear when I should be in first gear or fifth. It's just kind of all over the place. I never know when I'm going to have a vision or a dream that I have to either rationalize and think, is it a symbol or is this literally going to happen?
Right, very good question to put to me. Remembering that at times, I mean, I've been working with spirit now for probably nearly 25 years. There are times when I still don't know what's going to happen to me or what sort of a situation I'm going to walk into. So one thing I'd have to say to you there is I can never guarantee in what sort of situation you will be in. So it might be that you do want to wake up in the night and write something down, or that you do have a dream in the night that you need to remember. The one thing I would say to you in terms of your development is always ensure that you have I suppose the simple way for me to say this is that you have a contract between yourself and spirit, or the spirit world, in terms of saying when you're going to work for them, how you want to work for them. So in terms of the first one, when I said in terms of when you're going to work for them, is basically say, look, at night time, this is my sleep time. This is when I need time out, okay? Because remember that, and I'm sure you've found this yourself, spirit will knock on your door 24 hours a day if you want them to.
Yes.
Okay. So always be very precise with them and say, right, I will work for you between these hours. You know, I want you to stay outside my bedroom door when I've gone to bed at night, because otherwise you will find that people come in and start talking to you and pushing you in the night or tapping you, just saying, look, I'm here, I want to talk to you. Well, I'm sorry, you know, if we're not in a physical state ourselves, in a reasonable physical state, we won't be able to work for spirit. But the pathway for you, what I would say to you is, go where you want it to go, okay? I'm not going to give you a reading because that's not fair, but the one thing I would say to you is go where you feel happy. Now, remember that you'll take numerous paths, you'll go numerous roads that you're not comfortable with. Just make sure it feels right to you, okay? As I said earlier, we're all lost as mediums. You know, we never know where we're going to be working or what we're going to be working on next. So I couldn't turn around and say to you, right, Spirit are telling me that you want to go down a development route to sit for like a private group or a private sit-in. Or I couldn't tell you that they're telling me to tell you to go to healing, for instance, because for me to do that, you would have to talk to me for probably a lot longer than what we are at the moment. But my gut feeling for you, as I work with you, is you must have a very good ability of working with individuals and people and giving, I want to say, a little bit of a confidence boost to people, okay? Because I'm aware from talking to you and picking up on your voice that you're very quick to link in with people, is what I need to say. You know what people are feeling. You're very good on an emotional level with them. Would you understand that?
100%.
Yeah. What I would say to you, you've got a wonderful personal, how do I say this? You've got a very wonderful personal intuition with people, okay? You understand what people are feeling. You understand their pain. You understand their emotions. The one thing I always say to people, and if you look on my website, it states it, is remember to experience somebody else's pain, you have to experience it yourself. Do you understand what I'm trying to say there?
Yes, I do, and the problem I'm having is if someone I talk to is really either very negative or like it'll catch me off guard, I actually feel it as if it's my own feelings, and it takes me about a day to get it out of me. Do you have any advice where I can just know how to separate myself from that, or do I need to feel that?
No. So, right. Number one, yes, you need to feel that because you need to understand how that person's feeling in the sense of giving them a reading, okay, or a private sitting. But the one thing you must always remember is once that person has left your home or left the place where you're working with them, you literally imagine in your mind that you cut, think of a big ribbon going between the two of you, okay? And as soon as that person gets up and walks away, you cut that ribbon and you say, right, they're not my problems, they're their problems to deal with. And remembering that, I mean, I do on average probably somewhere in the region of 8 to 10 sit-ins a day, okay? I could not physically remember, and I wouldn't want to remember, everything about each and every individual that's been through my home. So always make sure that you cut ties. Always make sure that once that person has left your home, that you've disconnected from them. So you've said thank you, you've shut the door, you've allowed them to leave. That's it. They've walked away. You've done you've done your duty. You've done the bit that they wanted you to do for them. But you can't worry about it afterwards because that's their responsibility. Remember, we always talk about things such as personal responsibility. People are responsible for themselves.
Well, thank you so much. You were
Does that help you?
100% right. Yes, because I it's very draining if you don't know how to do that, and I'm just have been opening my eyes and accepting it and not turning away from it, because for years I was afraid of it. I was muzzled, humiliated, and I had so much going on in my life where I just couldn't deal with it. And it's only been the past 8 months that Spirit was really powerful in my life, and I witnessed something that was extremely paranormal. It shook my foundation, and I thought, this is just denying my arm or my leg or my heart, and it's a part of who I am. So let's figure this out. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. So thank you so much, because when I do go to sleep, I will get taps on my back, and I think, no, I'm sleeping. Leave me alone right now. But thank you so much. When you said that, it was like, wow, I can relate to everything. You have a blessed day, and thank you for the reading.
Thank you, Steve. Take care. And
take care. Bye-bye.
Have a wonderful day, too. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Those were some very good questions that she asked, and she seems happy with the reading, and, hopefully it'll help her in the right direction.
Hopefully.
We have another caller here. Their area code is not listed, but if they would like to ask a question as well.
Hi, this is Kay.
Hello, how are you today?
I'm fine. I talked to a psychic once, and not too long ago, and he told me that I have somebody in family and past have something to say to me. Does he see this? My mom and dad are both gone.
Okay. That's an interesting one, Kay, and welcome. Nice to speak to you. What I would say to you is remember that your loved ones will always want to say something to you firstly, okay? Just because they've passed over into the spirit world doesn't stop them caring for you, doesn't stop them wanting to come back and communicate for you.
Okay.
The one message that I do get for you very, very strongly is you must keep going. And I don't know who's telling me this. I know that you said your father's in spirit. I know it's a gentleman. But what he's saying to me is you must keep going. Don't give in, okay? I'd have to say, and I don't know whether I'm right in saying this to you, Kay, but did your father pass away before he finished something, or did he pass very young?
He was 64. He was getting ready to retire.
Okay, because he makes me aware, Kay, that as I'm talking to you, he's literally giving the impression as though he didn't get to finish what he wanted to do, if that makes sense. I feel as though he wanted to either spend more time with his family, or he wanted to spend more time with his wife, basically.
Uh-huh.
All
he
right.
loved working on they lived in the country. He loved chopping down trees that are dead and stuff. He was really outdoor person that way.
I just feel as though your dad had so much more he wanted to do, and he was just took short of life, basically.
Yeah, he was my favorite person of all, my dad was.
Yeah, so the one message I get for you is keep going, achieve everything you want to achieve, and go for it, because I know you'll get there, okay? That's what he's telling me about. He also talks to me about 2 children, so I don't know whether he talks to me about you and another sibling, so whether you have a brother or a sister.
I'll tell you what, there was 4 and 4, but one of my sisters is gone. There was 4 boys and 4 girls. I was a middle child.
Okay, I don't know why he's talking to me about 2 then, whether 2 was close together or something. Okay.
Uh-huh.
and I'm trying to link in very quick with you here.
Maybe it's Danny.
I don't know. Who's got the money problems at the moment? Why am I seeing money put into my hands as though I want to pass money to you and say, come on, here you go. Somebody's got money problems around you. One of the children, he says.
One of them.
One of the children.
Okay. I don't always talk to all of them, so I don't know who it is.
Okay. I know that one of them should be very, very sort of tall and very dark-haired.
Oh, Marty?
Okay. I don't know why I want to be there, but all I'm going to say to you is Dad says, keep going, keep going, keep going. That is all he's repeating to me. Don't give in, and don't let them beat you, he says. Don't let them beat you. And I'm not talking in a sense of physical there.
I understand what you're talking about.
Okay. It's just saying don't let them beat you, as though somebody's either going to try and stop you doing what you want to do, or somebody's trying the best to put the foot down with you and say, no, you're not doing it.
Yeah, I've done, things that my family like to hold me back, so I understand that very much so.
Good. Keep going, darling.
Good. All righty.
Does that help you?
Yes, it did, and will you tell him I love him a lot, and I talk to him all the time.
Okay, and he says he misses you too.
Okay. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Well, let me ask you another question. What happens, Barrie, if somebody never gets approached by a spirit of a loved one of any kind? Is that common too, or is that a sense of this person being so, not in need of any kind of protection or interaction? What would happen in that situation?
Okay, interesting one, and it's a situation that's never happened to me. But remembering that sometimes people do come to see me, Jason, for reasons when they don't have a specific reason, if that makes sense. They'll come to me just out of fascination or interest.
Right.
The one thing I always say to people is when they come to me, please have a reason to come and see me. Don't just come because I'm a medium and you think I might tell you something interesting. Please come to me with questions. Come to me with a situation in your life that you want to resolve. But it does happen at times, Jason, where very often somebody will come and see me, and I really do struggle to give them a message, and I have to turn around to them and say, do you really need help with anything at the moment? And they'll say, no, I don't. Well, that's why you won't get anything, because Spirit are there to let you know that things are going to be okay, to look after you, to give you some sort of guidance in life.
Right.
They will never give you the full answers to any question. That's the one thing I would say to people. So I can't solve people's problems, but what I can do is give you guidance on them. But it's a good question, because very often people do come to me for many reasons, as you can imagine. Some really for bereavement issues, or that they haven't solved problems before family passed over. But also I'll get people who come to me to say, am I going to get married? Will I have children? Where will I live? And that isn't really what I do. My belief, obviously, is to prove life after death and say, yes, your dad is with you or your mum is with you, and give you that information.
And let me ask you, how do you handle these kind of hostile skeptics that are out on a mission to debunk? Because even in my travels of investigating, I've experienced certain individuals like that. Is there a way that you can shield yourself from that kind of negativity? And does it affect your readings in any way if you get, constant bombardment of negativity over a period of time? Or have you been involved in this for so long that there's a way that you can just remove yourself from that negative field and just carry on as you would normally?
There's probably a way that I handle that myself, and very much to the latter one that you've just said there, where I don't care, if you know what I mean.
Exactly.
I totally ignore it. If somebody has a problem with the way that I work, I don't have a problem with that. This is how I work. The way that I do go is I probably rate myself on the information that I give to people, in the sense that if I can give somebody some information that I could never possibly know about them, then surely there's got to be something there. Surely there's got to be something else. In terms of when I do investigations myself, I don't always believe that every little piece of activity is spirit.
Right.
Okay, I do look for sensible reasons at times to see if things like doors are open or windows are open, if a door's not shut correctly. But the one thing I do like about skeptics is they do make you look at things very differently at times. And I think there's nothing better than sitting down and talking to a skeptic and saying, well, why don't you think there is something there? You know, what is it that's giving you that information? And remembering that, you know, in terms of spiritual activity, you know, we've had numerous spiritual activity, we have contact with the spirit world, but where is that ultimate proof? The ultimate proof is in the information that we give to people about their loved ones in spirit, to say, you know, your dad's here, your dad's telling me this, he's giving me this information, or he's showing me something, for instance. And that's where I look at with skeptics. But I've got to such a point that I've been doing this for so long that I really don't take any interest in it, if it makes sense.
No,
I know in my heart that something's right, something connects for me, something gives me information, and that information fits for people.
Yeah,
I was just going to ask, have they ever hinted at what it might be like on the other side, or any kind of description, or is there some kind of rule or something preventing them to, you know, kind of give us an idea maybe what might be over there?
Great one, right. I've just recently done a write-up for a big magazine in the UK, exactly about that sort of subject, to do some communication from the spirit world to see what it's like.
Yeah.
Spirit will very often tell you different things. You know, they always, whenever I communicate with spirit, they'll always tell me that it's a great place of learning. It's like a big school up there where all the information, everything that they've done in this life, everything that they've learnt in this life, all goes back with them into the spirit world. And then it's down to them then to start interpreting it and looking at it. I'm sure you've probably both heard of stories about where very often people will say, well, you know, they didn't pass over into the spirit world because they still had something to finish off.
Right. Yeah, unfinished business.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this is what I look at, is that we've all got lessons to learn here. We've all got an experience of life which we have to achieve. And until we've achieved that and learned it, we won't move over into the spirit world. But once we move into the spirit world, once we've done our duties here, those lessons that we've learned go back with us. And what we do is we create a new life from that. So we do look at situations where, you know, what we can do in our next life. Very often people will talk to me about reincarnation, and they'll say, I don't know, somebody might have a fear of water, for instance, and they'll say, well, that's from a past life, you know, and you really do have to delve into that and say, right, well, why is it from a past life, and what is it from the past life that scared you? And there is a very good examples of this that have come through from people in regression that will talk about drowning situations or boating accidents, that sort of thing, that really have made such a big mark on their spirit in the past life that in this life it's still affected it.
That actually makes a lot of sense, actually.
I have a three-part question. One, this, I don't know if it's ever been asked to you, but have you ever sensed a reading from somebody even older than Homo sapien, like from Cro-Magnon or Neanderthal? Is that possible? And,
or even alien.
Yeah, or extraterrestrial, or interdimensional.
Human.
And have you ever read anything from animals? Like, can you sense animals as well?
Right, good one. Let's just answer those right. All in turn. Good one about the Neanderthals or the Iron Age man or the caveman, something like that. My view of that is you would probably have great difficulty in communicating, because I think the language barrier would be very different.
Right.
Remembering that there wouldn't be any form of, an English language, there wouldn't be any form of even a foreign language with those sort of people. It would be very much probably just done on grunts and groans and pointing to things and touching things. So I think you would find that very difficult. I've never had that. In terms of when we talk of aliens or we talk of an extraterrestrial world, I've never made contact with that. People do ask me my thoughts on this at times and say, do you believe that there is another world out there? I do believe there's another world out there, but for me, I believe that there's a very big spirit world out there that probably takes over most of us. But where they live, I wouldn't have the faintest.
Yeah. Or maybe they're a different energy level as well. Some people say maybe it could be a higher frequency than humans. You never know. Yeah.
Yeah, and I do, I think the world, well, the universe, not just the world, the universe is so vast that I don't think anybody could actually say that we've covered every bit of it in spaceships and we've picked up on every little bit of information. But when we talk of that, we talk of physical people, not spirit people, okay? But it was a good question about the caveman, that sort of thing, you know, the Neanderthal people, the people from a very early age. Because, you know, when I've walked around some of the amazing places, I mean, I managed to go to Egypt in about 2003, 2004, and it really did touch me quite emotionally walking around some of the pyramids and some of the very sacred places where you just feel this wonderful earth of energy, but you don't know why, you don't know what you're picking up, but you are aware of spirit presence. That's what I would say to you. But the communication can be very difficult at times because of this sort of language barrier, I suppose we say. And that's where we do have to look at people like spirit guides and say, right, can you in effect translate, or can you help with some sort of a language barrier here?
And would you say that animals can have a sense of connection as well? Because I've read articles where people, you know, feel their lost cat or lost horse still around, and they see them kind of in a spirit form. Have you experienced that personally, or not yet?
Very often when people come to me for sittings and they've had animals in the past, whether that be horses or whether it be dogs or cats, you will get a feeling of an animal coming forward. Obviously, the animal in my case doesn't talk to me, but I can get this, you know, the energy of an animal. I can describe the animal. I can see it. I can sense it. You know, if it's a cat, very often you'll feel it, you know, like rubbing against the legs or sitting on somebody's knee. You'll sense the colour of it, the sensation of it, okay? But you'll also pick up the emotion from animals as well. So, you know, whether they were very much a loved animal or whether there was a little bit antisocial. But I have had that quite a lot for people. So I do pick up on this, I suppose you say, this spirit energy of animals coming through at times.
That's amazing. And can I ask you, is there a specific religion that has a tendency to attract more spirits? I know you said down in Buenos Aires it was quite, you know, an overwhelming experience because I don't know if it's the amount of people or is it because the Catholic religion embraces this, or, you know, like, is it one specific religion, or is it just spirituality in general that attracts spirits?
I think the one thing to say on that is that overall, I'm obviously class myself as a spiritualist,
right?
But overall, I accept every religion. I accept every belief. I have no problem with anybody's beliefs and what they pray to and what they talk about. The only thing I would say is that we have to have acceptance of everybody's beliefs. You know, there is people out there that let's put it this way: we all pray to a higher being somewhere. We all talk of a higher being. In my case, that's what I class as the spirit world. Okay. Some people talk to, you know, they'll talk to God, they'll talk to, you know, a Buddha, whatever it is they want to talk to. That is their belief pattern. Okay, and I have no problems with that. That is wonderful for me. But we all have this belief, and I accept that. I think you do find that the more religious a place is, very often its spirit presence is literally there within seconds when you want it to be, because of the religious links. If people go there, such as, if you think of a place such as a place of worship, where people go every day, they want to talk to somebody every day, talk to a higher being every day, you get this wonderful sense of walking into this very comforting energy, this big blast of worshipping power. That's the only thing I could say to you. So it does depend totally on the place, that in terms of religion, but also how it fits in with people's beliefs also. You know, if it's a place where where people don't believe in a religion or anything, you'd still pick the energy up, but it'd be very, very distant.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you too.
Well, being open-minded, I guess, eh? You're more receptive to things.
That's right.
Yeah, exactly. Just be open-minded with it.
Let me ask you too, when you're doing an investigation and you come across a very dark kind of, almost, it can even say evil spirit, does it track you? Because I've heard stories and read articles as well, and through my investigations, that even though people, you know, believe in the exorcisms and whatnot, that spirit can still come back and track you at a later date. Has that happened to you, or do you feel that because you're such a positive person that, you know, once you fend off that specific spirit, that's it?
I think the thing what you have to look at is you've always got positive and negative. You always get good and bad.
Right.
And no matter what sort of an investigation I'm doing, I will always pick both up. My comment to that would be how we deal with it as individuals. Do we want to hang on to that? And do we want that negative energy to track us down? Or do we want to go into the pure light situation, which is working with positive and, as I call it, the love situation.
Right.
But you will find it where if you get a very negative energy, it will link onto you.
And do you are you partial to the whole psychic vampire phenomenon, or do you think that that's something people can manifest on their own?
Explain to me how you mean.
You know how there's people that they're not passed on spirits, but they're actual living people that can psychically drain you of your energy, and they constantly, create a bad situation for you. Because I have a person here who's asking a question that's something similar to that. Says that he doesn't feel like something's right within his soul. He says, I know I'm a good person, but I feel like something isn't right with myself. Is it possible that, even though they're not passed on spirits, but maybe their spirit essence is attacking individuals out there on the earth? Is that possible? Have you come across that?
Right. What my view of that is, what my view of that is basically there are people out there who are in a sense very sort of needy people.
Right.
People do want answers in life and direction in life. I wouldn't say that anybody is necessarily an evil person, because I think remembering that we create what we want to be.
Right.
But I wouldn't say people are evil. I'd say that some people are probably. If somebody was nasty here, for instance, and they passed into the spirit world, they would still be the same, because that's the way we would identify them. But in terms of the person that's wrote into you, I wouldn't say they were in an evil state or a very needy state. All I would say is they probably need some guidance in life to put them on a right path.
Right. They probably made some bad choices, and it's guilt coming up.
Because remember that, my view is that we all have this one spiritual path that we walk.
Right.
But many times we can take a different sort of pathway off of that will take you into experience of life that you have to learn, you have to know it to be able to carry on living, basically. We have to experience good and bad in our lives to know what's happening to us.
That's right. It's learning.
I suppose the way to rephrase that is, if everything was wonderful in our lives and we never had any sort of upset or sadness or emotional turmoil, we wouldn't really know any difference, would we?
No, that you're totally right. And they even touched base on that in the Matrix. Where the first Matrix was perfect and a utopia, and it actually caused more problems than having it the way it should have been. With strife and challenges, it made it more believable. So I totally understand what you mean.
Good.
So for this person, I hope that answers their question. Basically just look within yourself and find what's wrong and bring it to the surface and address it in a short form. I was also wanting to find out from you, have you ever been contacted by the royal family, the modern-day royal family? Have they ever had any issues with hauntings in Buckingham Palace or anywhere that they might travel?
I've never got anything personally, being honest, no. Whether they want to wish to communicate with me one day and ask me to give them some sort of guidance, I suppose is entirely up to them. But, remembering that people have all got choices, and we do have to think of people's different sort of beliefs and religions.
Well, I was going to ask, do you believe that everybody has a guardian angel, or someone at least watching over them for some time in their life? I felt that before, actually, in my life before. Something just overtook me. I felt... Sorry, go ahead.
No. I believe that everybody has somebody looking out for them, put it that way. Whether it be what we call a guardian angel, whether it be somebody's loved one, is entirely up to the spirit world on how they want to operate. Very often, people will talk to me and say, oh, I believe my dad is my guardian, or my mum is my guardian. And what I always say is, well, that's fine. If that's what you're getting from spirit, then go with it. That's what you're meant to know.
Yeah.
So I do believe that we all have somebody looking out for us from a higher source.
because I felt that before in my life. But especially more at a younger age. I don't know if I was more open-minded back then. Like, I still consider myself open-minded, but I don't know. Maybe I'm getting dull in my old age.
Yeah. No, I think, I think we do. I think we do have to look at it, and it's we do all want somebody protecting us somewhere down the line, don't we?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's always nice to imagine that.
It's almost like a security blanket, in other words.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Well, can I ask you, what was your most memorable case that you've dealt? Was it your very first case, or is there something that really stands out in your mind and really sets you back, and every time you envision the whole thing, you're like, wow, I can't believe I was there?
Good question. I'm trying to think how to answer that one myself. I've had so many experiences.
Yeah, exactly.
My biggest experiences, I would have to say, are helping people basically when they've lost loved ones to the spirit world, and let's say they've not ended a situation, where you can actually help somebody put a close on a situation.
Yes.
And that would be where my greatest relief comes from. That's where my heart lies. I want to help people, allowing them to move on, allow them to start living the life again, really. That would be some of the amazing ones. And to put a any sort of individual case on that would be just very hard for me because of how many I've done over the years. In terms of the ghost events that I do or investigation works I do, again, we've had some wonderful phenomena there that have happened at times, where we've had, I don't know, part apparitions, we've had doors closed on us, we've had doors locked on us. If anybody's seen one of the TV shows that I did with Most Haunted,
I love that show.
Yeah, basically we did a show at what was called Oxford Castle in the UK, and what happened was we went up one of the towers, and while I was in one of the rooms, the door actually shut on us and locked from outside, and I still can't believe that happened, because it was just, how did that happen?
Well, has there ever been a case where you just got this sign sent to you and you said, no, I am not doing it? Has there ever been a case like that yet?
Yes. In fact, there's one case that does come to my mind, and I always wished I had listened to my gut feeling on that, because I actually went against my gut feeling and actually got involved with it, and it didn't work for me. It was wrong. I knew it was wrong from the start. I knew it was wrong when it ended, and I should never have got involved with it, but that was my choice. Away from spirit, that was my choice as an individual to say, right, I want to get involved with this. And I think the one thing we do have to do is go with what we call our gut feelings, and if it doesn't feel right, if it isn't right for us, we don't do it and we keep out of it.
Is there a way that the normal individual, somebody that feels kind of impressions or intuition on a regular basis can develop it more? Because the same person is asking, is there any way they can enhance themselves?
Right. What I always say is everybody's got a psychic ability. The psychic ability means that you're able to pick up on people's feelings, people's emotions. We're not talking about communicating with spirit. We're just talking about sitting next to somebody and knowing that somebody's upset or knowing that somebody's very happy, whichever way it works.
Right.
We've all got that ability, okay? The one thing when you start developing is, and I do believe in this very firmly, is that you need to start off very basic. You need to start off looking at your own awareness on how you work as an individual, and then start developing it into how does your awareness start affecting other people around you. And then what we start doing is looking at developing you to communicate with spirit. And the way that I'll say that is, one of the things I always work with people on a very early stage is looking at their aura and their energy, how their energy field works. Because if they don't understand that, once they start working with spirit, they will never ever be able to understand when spirit comes near, because spirit move in an energy form, and obviously the way that they communicate with us is energy to energy. And if you can't understand your own energy, you're never going to know that spirit are near you and are able to communicate with you. So we do have to look at that, and we do have to be very, I suppose you could say strict, really, in the sense of where we move people up different levels and where we move them through different stages.
That's a very good point, and I just want to let everyone know as well that I put all your important links within the chat room, and they can definitely link to a multitude of your sites, from Facebook group to your own homepage. And also you can go into YouTube and just look for Barrie John or Most Haunted, and you'll be able to watch numerous episodes that are available.
I'm guessing you've watched them yourself.
Yeah, I've watched quite a few of them, and I'm a huge fan.
Good.
They also show your program here on the Women's Network in Toronto, and it's a great show. It's well done. It's and I actually wanted to ask you too, when they're setting up, is the crew believers, or are they, is it different people all the time, or is it the same crew, and do they believe what they're doing, or are they going into it kind of, with a closed mind, and then they get blown away? How does that happen?
A lot of the group are very open-minded, okay? Some of them are total believers, some of them are total skeptics. The one thing that we always managed to do, or we did manage to do, was be able to get everybody to work together. So even though you've got a skeptic there, one of the things we would do is put them in a situation where they could experience something, or possibly wanted to experience something. But I think the one thing that we have to remember out of all of this is, the shows that people see on TV are roughly about an hour's show. To get to an hour's show probably takes us somewhere in the region of possibly 36 to 48 hours to get to 1 hour show.
Wow.
So you have to remember all the other times where, we still are picking things up, but a lot of the time we don't pick things up. Spirit activity doesn't happen at the click of a finger. You won't get doors starting to bang within seconds of sitting in a room. You have to sit for a while to start building up the energy and getting it to work.
That's an extremely valuable point.
Yeah, I think the good thing about the team is that they're all willing to be put in situations that some of them aren't comfortable with, to see what they can experience. And obviously you've seen some of the results from some of the shows that we've done, where people are very shocked about what they actually get out of that situation.
Yeah. Well, my cousin was actually on Rescue Mediums. I don't know if you ever heard of that show. Yeah. It's basically about my... Oh, sorry?
No, I was just going to say, well, hopefully I'm over in Canada and the US either sometime later this year or early next year. We're actually just talking to a few TV agents over there to start publicising me over that way. So you never know. I might be working with them.
That'd be absolutely amazing. There's actually a huge conference coming in August here in North America. It's called Paracon. You should look to become a speaker there, and you would definitely probably network with some key players, We're actually going to make a trip.
Yeah, we're going to try to make it down, AJ.
Yeah, and just network ourselves as well, because as you know, it's making the right points at the right time with this kind of field. So this can really open up some doors for yourself.
Brilliant.
I wanted to find out what you have in store for the near future. You just mentioned possible working over here, but what's going on in the UK for you? And are you, going to be writing any books or any papers of any kind?
Yep. Right. I obviously get involved in a lot of the spiritual magazines in the UK, writing articles for them and adverts, etc. We will be putting a biography together, which is something that I've actually been trying to do for the past year and not succeeding very well. So we will be putting on board somebody to actually write that for me, to work alongside me, and also my management team. So hopefully there will be a Barrie John book out early next year. Keep watching for more TV, because I'm very eager for more TV and obviously to prove my belief. I do think there's a very big market for it still, and people always want belief and want proof of it. I've got quite a lot of workshops coming up this year, a lot of them in the UK more than anything. I'm actually flying out to the Middle East later this year. Also, as I said, out to Mexico area, hopefully later this year as well. And who knows, I might be out to Canada now in August time.
That's amazing. You got
so trust me, I do travel a lot.
All over the globe.
It definitely makes it that much more worthwhile too, because you get to experience spirituality in all corners of the earth. So I mean, I envy you in that regard. We haven't gotten to that point yet, but maybe in the future.
But I mean, if I can help anybody in any way, and obviously if there is any agents out there listening or anybody knows of anybody, do get in touch and let us know. We're keen to progress over there into Canada and the US area and, see where the spiritual area takes us.
Well, I believe just by the energy I feel from you, I believe that you're going to, definitely reach any goal that you want to, because you already have. So honestly, it's just a matter of time, and once it happens, it's going to be, something that will just overwhelm the world. That's
wonderful. Thank you very much.
My pleasure. I want to let everyone know that there's roughly 5 minutes left already. This has been more than an amazing interview, and I just wanted to say thank you very much for being a part of the show. Also, if you would like, you can definitely give out your websites again. They are in the chat room, but if you wanted to give the most important ones, go ahead.
Yeah, the most important website is obviously www.barriejohn.com, and that's Barrie with an IE. Have a look on there, see what you can find. You can also look at my events company as well, which is hauntedhappenings.co.uk. Probably numerous Facebook sites out there as well. You can actually join my fan club on Facebook. And if you want to link to me on Facebook, you're more than welcome to, and it is under Barrie John.
It's been more than wonderful to speak with you, Barrie, and I hope you have a great day, and thanks so much for stopping by and giving us the opportunity to speak with you.
You're welcome anytime I can help.
And hopefully we'll get, when your book is ready, and if you want to do another show, to definitely give the word about it, give us a little line there, and we'll get that going.
I will do. Thanks a lot.
Have a great day.
You too. Take care. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Again, that was Barrie John from the UK. More than a great guest. And while we have a few minutes left, I just want to say hello to all the important groups that are associated with Paranormal Guys, Inc., the Facebook group, the MySpace page, YouTube, now public. We've got some stuff going on the TV channel. And pay attention to our new advertisement that I put together about the documentary film. It's there now. You can see it either on the YouTube page or even in the Facebook group or the TV channel. It just gives you a little insight onto what we got going in the next little while. We're hoping for a finish date between May and early June, and once that's up and running, you guys can definitely check that out. But also want to say that next week's show on the 7th of March is going to be pretty big as well. We have Stanton Friedman. You can link to the event page through Facebook or just check our profile on the website, paranormalguys.inc. I should say, paranormalguysinc.weebly.com. The Blog Talk player is right there. And on an end note, I want to say thanks to the Blog Talk community as well. And have yourself a great day. It's a cold one here in Toronto. I hope everything is going well for everybody out there.